As the title suggests, I would like to discuss 3 intellectual traits of INFJs that you will find in most genuine INFJs. Now, as it happens, those 3 traits are linked to an overarching main intellectual trait that I think most, if not all, INFJs have. And if you have that trait, it might be a giveaway. If you don't have that trait, it might also be a giveaway, right? So the overarching traits, before I move on to the 3 traits, is what I would call a vertical intellect. I think INFJs can be said to have a vertical rather than horizontal intellect, right? Or an intellect that is both vertical and horizontal. I'm sure that happens in the case of some people sometimes, perhaps certain INFJs too. But, across the range of different INFJs, if you average things out, you'll usually find that INFJs have what can legitimately be called a vertical intellect. And by this I mean that INFJs tend to explore things intellectually from the perspective of focusing on just a select number of things within, clustered into a theme that they then try to plumb down to its depths as much as possible in a never-ending quest. And this is usually the way it manifests. Therefore, the first trait is that in terms of intellectual curiosity, INFJs are intellectually curious, but you need to distinguish between 2 forms of intellectual curiosity. Again, there's intellectual curiosity where someone likes to approach a lot of different themes that may not have a relationship with each other. You've all encountered perhaps extrovert perceivers that are very interested in things that seem to have very little in common. Maybe they're interested in like some more sort of geeky stuff, some more sports stuff, some more political stuff. INFJs are again more vertical. They tend to go deep, so their curiosity is always about trying to learn more about a topic that they're already studying. And if they do end up encountering other themes, it usually would be from the perspective of from the sort of ground, the anchoring of this particular deep thematic interest. So they branch out eventually, but it's always coming from this single source or just cluster of connected sources. They like to go deep. Their curiosity is about going deeper rather than going wider for the sake of it. The second trait, which again is connected, is that INFJs find it difficult to move on from a particular research or intellectual interest that they're interested in the sense that because they tend to see that there's always more to explore, always more to be revealed by excavating the particular topic, they tend to continue exploring it because it's like it never really bottoms out. And so they stick to it basically sometimes for life. And often if you see that the writer, for example, has spent his or her entire career writing about the same topic, but approaching it from a different angle each time and going deeper and deeper each time, this may be an indication that they are in fact an INFJ writer. Not necessarily, but it certainly can be. Now, again, the interesting thing about that is that in the ordinary sense of how we value people being able to complete projects and move on, it would almost seem like this is an impediment to INFJ progress, but it also means that they can be extremely profound and expert at certain specified subject areas. Now, the last trait that actually connects to the first 2, again, it's always the vertical intellect overarching theme, is that, well, you can imagine that because it's a vertical intellect, it kind of reaches down to the heart, it reaches down to the soul, meaning, in essence, if you allow me to, the use of this metaphor, that INFJs tend to, and it's not conscious, it's not a conscious process, but it's something that happens nevertheless. They tend to blend their intellectual activities, their intellectual interests, with how they view life, how they view their life, how they view their moral obligations, their relationship with other people. In other words, their worldview. We know that the worldview of a person is composed of many, many things. But what I would say is that since INFJs have deeply holistic minds, I've discussed this many times before, this particular unified vision that they tend to subscribe to intellectually is thematically the same or very, very much similar to the themes that inform other areas of life. So everything is organized around this particular theme, right? So it would not be uncommon for INFJs to function with this implicit intellectual frame in mind that really guides their action and assigns values to their goals, or what might, you know, be considered a good thing to do or not a good thing to do, or plans to make or plans not to make. To some extent, it's safe to say that, you know, most types, obviously, unless they are very heavily dissociative, will be influenced in their daily life by their intellectual interests, but the level of integration that INFJs display tends to be very, very advanced. Okay, so these are the 3 traits that I wanted to discuss. And again, I think maybe the key insight, the key notion to remember from this video is this notion of intellectual verticality, or a vertical intellect. Let me know in the comments if you're an INFJ, if you agree with me and if you resonate with what I said. If you're not an INFJ, if you agree or, you know, resonate in terms of INFJs you might know. And you know, drop a like to this video if you enjoyed it. Don't forget, I wrote 2 books on the INFJ. The latest book is The Infinite Soul, INFJ Life in the Modern World, which looks at how INFJs can find meaning, purpose and value in the world today, which a lot of INFJs consider pretty hostile. So this is the book to get. Look, it's so nice. It's so nice. And you can get it at the link below. If you have read the book and loved it but not reviewed it, please consider reviewing it. It helps with the referencing on Amazon, okay? Now the prequel, and you'll see that it's a prequel because thematically the cover is very similar, is The Ecstatic Soul, which is a more in-depth look at INFJ consciousness, the INFJ mind. It's the most in-depth research of that, and the existential manifestation and behavior. So it goes well together. You know, this one looks at the inside of the INFJ mind. The Infinite Soul looks at the INFJ in the world. And as you can see, this is an illustration of the vertical intellect too, because my next book will probably again be an excavation of INFJs, going even deeper. Now finally, I have a Patreon page, which is really the lifeblood of my channel, helps keep the channel going. You can support me for anywhere from $3.50 a month. Consider it. The link is below, and you get access to bonus content, and I do some readings, I share some video exclusively for you occasionally, but it's mostly really to support my work. Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.